Let's talk about something no one tells you when you start studying for the LSAT. Prepping for a 160 and prepping for a 180 are completely different games, but most students treat them the same. They follow some one-size-fits-all plan, same schedule, same drills, same advice, like treat all sections equally, drill every day, do full exams every week. So they grind, and then they hit a wall. 155, 162, maybe 168. But no matter how much effort they put in, their score just won't budge. And it gets frustrating because now you're thinking, am I doing this wrong? Maybe I'm not smart enough. No, you are not the problem. The problem is your plan. You're using the wrong strategy to hit your score goal. And the higher your target, the more precise your approach needs to be. So today, I'm going to give you two different LSAT prep playbooks. One for students targeting a 160 and one for students chasing that 180. I'll also walk you through the biggest mistake people make in the 160s and how to break past it. I'm going to share with you which strategy fits your current situation, how to stop wasting time on low-impact study habits, and what it actually takes to get the score that you're aiming for. Now, let me give you two real examples. My student Jane came to me scoring in the mid-140s. She was raising two kids, finishing college, and working part-time. She barely had 10 hours a week to study. Her goal was a 160. That's what she needed for her target school. And the traditional advice told her to treat all sections equally. We threw that out entirely. Instead, we put 80% of her time into logical reasoning because it's now the majority of the exam. We still gave her some light reading comp strategy, just enough for some quick wins. Within 2 months, she was hitting 161 without burning out. No all-nighters, just smart, focused study. Now, let's flip it and talk about another student. Kevin was already scoring in the low 160s, and his dream was a T14 law school with a scholarship, and he needed a 175, but he was still prepping like he was chasing a 160. He was watching explanation videos, taking practice tests, kind of reviewing, but not deeply. So we flipped it around. He stopped rushing through questions. He slowed way down and started analyzing why he fell for wrong answers. He brought me his 3 to 5 hardest questions each week, and we attacked them together. 10 weeks later, he walked away with a 175. Now, I want to be totally transparent here. These results are real, but they're not typical. Not everyone sees that kind of jump. Your scores depend on a lot: where you're starting, how much time you have, and how well you execute. There are no guarantees you will ever hit a particular score, and anyone who makes that kind of guarantee is lying. What I can tell you, though, is this: if you follow the right plan for your score goal and you actually stick with it, you'll give yourself the best possible shot at a breakthrough. Now, let's say your goal's a 160. That means you're probably starting in the 150s, maybe the low 150s. You might be working, maybe you're in school, maybe you're juggling work and school, and you don't have 30 hours a week to study. And that's okay. Here's your game plan. Step 1, prioritize logical reasoning, because it's more than half the test. It's also the most efficient section to improve, and the skills transfer directly over to reading comp. If you've got 10 hours a week to study, you want to put at least 6 or 7 of them into logical reasoning. It is not even close. Then you want to stop trying to master everything. This is a 160 strategy, not a 180 strategy. If you're aiming for 160, you're not aiming for perfection, you're aiming to get as many points as possible. If you can improve by just 1 question per passage in reading comp, that's 3 to 4 points right there. If you can clean up your accuracy in logical reasoning by 10%, that's another 4 to 6 points. You don't need to ace every passage. You don't need to memorize every question type. You just need to get a few more things consistently right. Now, here's the core 10 system I give my students. 10 core LSAT concepts, 10 questions per concept, and 10 minutes of review per set. That's 1 focused hour per day, 5 days a week. No full exams, no multi-hour blocks, just deliberate, efficient work on what matters most. Now, let's say you want a 180 or maybe a 175 plus. Totally different animal. You're not trying to get good enough. You're trying to become one of the best LSAT takers in the country. This is elite prep. Think this is the law school Olympics. First step is to review like a pro. The average student reviews by checking the answer key, but that's not going to cut it here. You've got to ask, why did I fall for this trap? What made that wrong answer tempting, and what assumption was I making? Review is not optional here. It is the work. Then you want to hunt down the hardest possible questions. I tell my top students, bring me the 3 to 5 hardest questions you've recently encountered, the ones where you froze, the ones where you guessed, the ones where you got it right, but you weren't sure why. That's where the breakthroughs happen. And that's how you go from -4 to -1 or even -0. The third step is to build up your endurance. And this part is hugely underrated. You've got to train your brain to stay sharp for more than 2 hours straight. That means timed sections, full exams, simulating test day conditions with no music, no snacks, no random breaks to check your phone. You're not just mastering logic here, you're mastering focus. Now, a lot of students I work with who are aiming for a 175 or a 180 are stuck in the 160s. In fact, this might be the most common group I work with. And for these students, it doesn't even matter how many tests they take. Their scores just won't go up. They've hit a wall. And the problem is, these students are still using their 150s strategies. They're drilling, watching videos, but they're not thinking differently. If this is you, here's what I want you to ask yourself. Am I reviewing why I got each question wrong? Am I tracking the patterns I'm falling for over and over again? And am I analyzing my timing, not just how fast I go, but where I lose momentum? The jump from 160 to 170 isn't about learning more material. It's about cleaning up your decision making. You don't need a whole new course of prep. You just need a new lens on how you think. And most people are failing to hit their LSAT goals not because they didn't work hard, but because they followed the wrong plan. If your goal is 160, prep like a 160 score. If your goal is a 175 or a 180, prep like you're in the top 1%. And if you're stuck, you've got to change the way you review. Because the LSAT doesn't reward effort, it rewards focus. It rewards precision. You don't need to outwork everyone, you just need to work smarter than 99% of other students. That's how you get the top score, and that's how you get into your dream school. And that's how you walk in on test day knowing that you're ready.